Hi, I'm Felix Ru. I'm partner at KEGON in Germany. So the things I wish I had known before my first PI planning in 2013, there are so many things I wish I had known. As at that time there was just a few guidance, so I probably had to learn a lot the hard way. So one of the most important things I really had to learn is how important it is to have the first PI planning. If you start an agile release train and have the first PI planning, try to have it collocated. Even if it's a distributed agile release train, try to bring everybody to one location, because this gives you the opportunity, or gives the agile release train the opportunity to create a real agile release train culture. So it's like, as an agile release train, we are winning and losing together. It's not about the teams anymore, it's about the overall agile release train. And with that is bring everybody together and try to do the quick start approach. So I really had to learn the hard way that the quick start approach, meaning 2 days of training together and then 2 days of planning together, it's really working. So the big room planning approach with like 100 or 120 attendees, it's working. So I did not believe it's going to work. Then I had to try it. I sort of was forced to do it, and it was fantastic. It was like creating so much positive energy in the room. And then the PI planning we had after this big room training was much better than the first PI plannings I had before. So my suggestion to you is, really try the quick start approach when you're going to start your agile release train. And one thing I really miss is, in the official agenda at least, is the social event. You have to think about how to give the agile release train, the teams, the members of the agile release train, give them room to socially interact, to have some conversations beside talking about stories and features and so on, get known to each other. So sometimes it's enough to just say, okay, you can stay in the room and here's some pizza, here's some beer, enjoy yourself. Even this very simple approach is also creating a lot of positive energy, is creating a real agile release training culture. So, and another thing I had to learn is that you never ever can invest into coaching the business owners and the executives. So take as much time as possible before you start with the first PI planning to explain the business owners and the executives what they have to expect from the PI planning, what's going to happen in the PI planning, and tell them what role they play in the PI planning and what the agile release train is expecting from them. In terms of giving guidance, creating transparency of the overall situation of the company, and helping to create an overall alignment. And one thing is very important. Tell them that the agile release train, it's expecting that their decisions are reliable. So it's an anti-pattern. So they go to the PI planning and they make a decision. We all go to the left side, and after 2 weeks they change their mind and say, okay, maybe on the right side it's much more attractive. So thing is, they need to figure out between each other what are the real business priorities, and then together with the whole agile release train create an overall alignment. What's possible in the next PI? What are the big business priorities? And then say, okay, let's go this direction, and don't change your mind after like two weeks, because it's a waste of time of everybody if you do that. And the third thing I believe is very important to know and to understand before you have your PI planning is how powerful the concept of PI objectives is. So PI objectives are a very powerful tool or approach for closing the feedback loop between the business and the development. So in the first part of day one, there's the executive talking about the overall business situation, the product management is talking about the product vision and the features on the wish list. And then the teams start planning what's possible, which parts of these goals can be achieved. And if the teams are then able to summarize the millions of user stories they have planned in well-written PI objectives, this is really creating a feedback loop between, or a learning cycle between the business owners, the product management, and the teams. And then, of course, think about your RTE. So if you are not the RTE, think about how you can support the RTE, because then RTE, so organizing and PI planning is a lot of work. So the RTE needs a lot of support for organizing the PI planning event, and of course needs support during the PI planning event. So very often the RTE becomes a bottleneck during the PI planning event, so queues building up in front of him because everybody wants to know something from him. So really think about which role in detail the RTE will play during the PI planning event, and on who is going to support him in the preparation of the event and during the event. So key probably is to completely activate the Scrum Masters of the Agile release train, to build a real Scrum Master community, so the Scrum Masters are able to support the RTE before the PI planning event and during the PI planning event. And for large Agile release trains, think about additional people helping the RTE to do his job. Then, of course, the most important one is don't run out of water or coffee. Because if you do that, I had to learn it the hard way, you will really experience a real revolution. And if you are the RTE, this will not be a nice day for you. So don't run out of water or coffee. Not having food is not nice, but not having water or coffee, it's deadly. Don't do that.